Hey everyone, Couch Investor back with another video for you today. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a little company called Nintendo. We're going to go over a couple of key points. One, is Nintendo undervalued right now? Could it be compared to a company like Disney? Because right now, Nintendo's market cap is around about $78 million. It's just 1/3 of that of Disney's. We could see a couple of things that resemble Disney, so we're going to go over that as well. We're going to go over why Ark Invest has now over 2 million shares in Nintendo in their main ETFs, and obviously my own conclusion whether or not Nintendo is a good buy right now. Could they still be the king of console, king of gaming in the years to come? Because obviously the Nintendo Switch is a super highly popular console. Some even say it's the #1 console in the world right now. Even though PlayStation and Xbox have released their new console, Nintendo Switch is still sold out in most places around the world. So we're going to go over that as well. But before I do so, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. And if you like these videos, I would really appreciate an early thumbs up, as it really helps me outgrow the channel and get my videos out there. So without further ado, let's start with the charts. Alright, so Nintendo stock, like most gaming stocks and gaming companies, have had a pretty good year. I think year to date we're up 40%. Since its lowest point, it actually doubled right on the dot. Right now what we're seeing is a top, so a big resistance right here at around $70, $71, $72 or so. So if it breaks, expect it to go even higher. But if it fails to break, like we've seen a couple of times right now, we could see the stock maybe go back lower to around these prices right here. I think this is a little support line right around $67. Again, little support line because it's a very short-term time frame. If that doesn't hold, then yes, there is a big support right around $60, $61 or so. All right, so let's dive right in. What's been the main driver for Nintendo this year and actually in the last couple of years is the Nintendo Switch. So as you can see, Nintendo Switch just sold more units in Q3 than any console in a decade. Nintendo Switch console sold more units in the third quarter than any other piece of video game hardware since 2009, according to the data. The last console to put up better numbers in Q3 was actually Nintendo's own Nintendo DS, which went on to sell more than 154 million units worldwide. Now, like I said, it was a pretty good quarter and year actually for the video game industry, with spending from July through September climbing 24% year over year to reach $11.2 billion. Now, Nintendo will be facing new competition. We know that with the new consoles that are coming out right now, even though most of them are sold out or impossible to get right now. Their senior VP in sales and marketing actually said that it's always exciting when new consoles enter the video game marketplace. It's great to see the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X coming into the marketplace. But we do think that the Nintendo Switch occupies a fundamentally different position and really has a unique proposition for shoppers and players, which goes back to this point right here. As with last year, Nintendo says that a large part of its growth comes from continued adoption by women and families. This year, a lot of our growth has been driven by an influx of women playing Nintendo Switch, more kids and teenagers playing Nintendo Switch, as well as parents. Obviously, some of you don't know, there are actually two products for the Nintendo Switch. There's this one, and then there is that one as well. Now, what makes the Nintendo Switch so desirable, and why is it actually always or most of the time sold out? So there's a couple of points that I want to mention right here. First up is obviously the high demand for this console. We all know lots of people like to play those old school games, Super Mario, Mario Kart, or even now the newer games, Animal Crossing, or even Pokemon games as well. So obviously, huge demand is one key point to why it's been sold out. Second point is obviously the pandemic. Everybody's staying at home, so everybody has been buying probably maybe the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is a bit cheaper than their premium product. So yes, maybe higher demand and lower supply because everything is closed. Obviously, it's been produced in China. China's production line has been closed, so maybe that's why high demand, short supply, that's why it's been sold out. Now, third point, and that's the most important one, is the bots. Lots of people have been using bots recently to buy new consoles such as the PS5, the Xbox X, and also the Nintendo Switch. Because as you know, what's been sold out for a long time means that on the second-hand market, the market on eBay or Facebook groups, the price is always higher than the retail price. So what do? They use bots to buy out all the stock and then sell it at a higher price to make some profit. And that has been actually happening for quite a while for Nintendo Switch. It doesn't help that there was a pandemic, that China's supply line was closed for a while. And my next point, probably next year we're going to see a new Nintendo Switch. So that's why they might not be pushing to actually make more and more Nintendo Switch right now, because they might want people to come and buy their newer console in a couple of months, maybe in a year from now. And as the hype keeps going up and up by people wanting to buy a new Nintendo Switch, but it's always sold out, so they can keep that momentum going into 2021. It's actually been said right here. Some reports suggest that the company will try to keep Switch momentum going with the launch of a new premium edition of the console next year. Nothing official on that front has been announced, but it would be a smart move. To actually be a genius move. It would be a move that would mean that I will be buying the new Switch console if there were one to come out next year, right? And the second big point of this video is something that you might have forgotten about, but it's certainly not gone. It's Pokemon Go. It is still growing strong. There are actually still millions of people playing it. And it's actually been paying off for Nintendo. You can see here that Pokemon Go soars past $4 billion in player spending as it hits $1 billion in 2020. Today, the location-based game has generated $4.2 billion worldwide. Its most lucrative market has been the US, which makes up 36.3% of all earnings with $1.5 billion. So yes, if you've not been playing this game like me since that awesome summer, you might be thinking that the game is dead, but actually the game is going as strong as could be. But Nintendo will actually be taking their whole franchise, their brand, one step further, because they see all this hype going for the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Go going crazy. Pokemon World actually is going crazy as well. What they're planning to open in 2021 actually with Universal Studios is a little theme park. Super Nintendo World opens on February 4th with AR Mario Kart roller coaster. Now Universal Studios Japan has announced an opening date for its long-awaited Nintendo theme area. The Super Nintendo Land Zone will open in Osaka Theme Park on February 4, 2021. Obviously, you could expect delays if something goes wrong with the whole pandemic, which will look a bit like this right here. Obviously, this is just a little and a small preview. Alright, and lastly, let's go and look at ARK's position in Nintendo. We can see here that it's actually number 28 in the ARKK ETF with around about 2.2 million shares at a market value of $157.4 million. It's just 1.21% of their whole portfolio. Actually, if you look at the top 30, it's actually the only stock and the only company that is actually focused on the whole gaming. There's no EA, there's no Activision Blizzard, no Tencent, no Take-Two Interactive. Alright, so to conclude, after seeing all of this, do you still believe, or do you believe that Nintendo is undervalued at a market cap of around about $75 million? Compare that to Disney, for example. Obviously, Nintendo is still a little bit smaller than Disney. Disney is a whole franchise with huge theme parks all around the world. Obviously, movie content, even though Nintendo plans to make a Super Mario movie going forward. So they might be finally expanding their license for maybe Pokemon, Super Mario, and all the other things that fall under that Nintendo license. Because as you know, you can only play Mario or Pokemon on Nintendo licensed product. Imagine if they release that license, how much money they could be making right there. Who knows if that will ever happen? I highly doubt that. But going back to the point of, is it undervalued? Is it actually a good play right now to buy Nintendo? In my opinion, yes, it is cheap. If you look at the other competitors, it is cheap. Maybe it's going under the radar, who knows? But I believe going forward, Nintendo is finally making the right steps to grow into an even bigger worldwide franchise. I would like to know your opinion on this company. Let me know down in the comments below if you like Nintendo, what your thoughts are on this company. Let me know down in the comments below. And that will be it for this video. If you liked it, consider leaving a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button. As always guys, take care, stay safe, and see you all in the next video. Bye bye.